today we're going to be ranking the Dead Island 2 protagonists.
Yep, so there's 6 of them. We're gonna get right into it. Jason.
And I'm Ethan. So, yeah, like he said, basically this is just going to kind of be like what we think about their appearance, their skills, what they come with and their different traits. And to start us off, my least favorite is Amy. I don't like her aesthetic-wise, honestly. In the selection, like, trailer movie that they give you in the beginning, I'm not a huge fan of her at all. And honestly, her skills and shit aren't really that good. I mean, she's not tough at all. Her agility is the only thing she's got going for her, but she has low health, medium stamina, medium health recovery, medium resilience. And her two skills that she comes with are kind of useless. I mean, I don't know about you, but I don't really throw my weapon in Dead Island that often. You know, I kind of always hold on to it and keep it with me because I'm gonna have to keep swinging the fucking thing. And when you attack like a single zombie, you get a minor damage boost. The game doesn't have just single zombies floating around that often. I mean, usually there's, a whole horde of them, so kind of pointless.
Yeah, that is not the one that I had, number 6. My number 6 is Carla. I don't like Carla. I don't like her vibe. She kind of seems like a plain Jane from viewing the introduction video, and she's like a stunt woman. She rides motorcycles, cool stunt motorcycles. I do like how Dead Island 2 has like these character cards, but her stats aren't anything like awful. I don't think any character just has straight awful stats, like in comparison to everyone else. But overall, I think she's just a little boring as a character compared to the rest of the very exuberant cast.
I can kind of see that. But I think my number 5 had to be Bruno. One, I don't like the way he looks at all. He reminds me of 6ix9ine. I'm not much of a huge fan of that. But mainly it's the looks that drag him down for me, but it's also the fact that he has like the worst health. Like, I don't know, I picked the dude with like some of the highest health, and we'll talk about that guy later, which kind of gives it away. And I still get clowned. I mean, they put my ass to sleep. His one card is kind of useless, the backstab, where you get a boost from attacking zombies from behind. His agility and heavy attacks get boosted when you block or dodge. That's actually pretty helpful, because that is nice to have a little bit of a boost there. Otherwise, he's not really. The health is really the main thing that drags him down.
I'm not too far off. My number 5 is Danny. Danny has this punk rock vibe of like 2020s where it looks like she drinks a lot of Monster Energy and she listens to crazy music and does her little thing. I like the aesthetic. It definitely fits the aesthetic of Los Angeles as the theme. She looks cool. Everything's okay with her. It's just I like the characters a bit better. Her health is also another thing that holds her down. In terms of her health recovery, she has basically none. One thing that is really good about Danny is that her stamina is top notch. Her heavy attacks trigger a forceful explosion on impact. I mean, Thunderstruck, that's pretty cool. Cool AC/DC reference, I guess. Bloodlust is actually pretty good as an ability, but overall I just like the other characters better. So there's 6 characters. My number 6 was Carla. I don't like Carla. The rest of the 5 I like.
That's kind of how I feel for Amy. Something about her. My number 4 was Carla. Not terribly far off. Yeah, she's got like the highest resilience and she's tough. The low critical damage isn't that big of a deal to me. I'm not like that concerned about that. I don't like Carla's aesthetic that much. I mean, the mosh pit card is great. You get a damage boost when you're close to a lot of zombies. That's huge. And I mean, yeah, I guess the toughness boost while your health is critical is nice, but I don't know. I feel like, it's a little she's a little worse than the other 3 that I put above her just because of that. I mean, she is like, well, what, I think I'm just gonna say it probably comes down to aesthetics at this point. I like the top 3 a lot, and I think Carla was outside looking in on the top 3.
Yeah, aesthetics is pretty big for me. My number 4 is Bruno. At first glance, I didn't think I was gonna like Bruno, but actually I really like Bruno from his character video. I like his personality he's kind of like a hustler, and he kind of just is like this streets type LA.
Scumbag.
Yeah. Like, but it's cool. Like, it's cool. Like, there's scumbag bad, and then there's scumbag cool, and he's scumbag cool for some reason. There's a charm to it. You can tell just from the 6 characters that he's gonna be the one that kind of stirs a lot of the pot in the story and does a lot. Not that I know anything at all, but it just his architect really kind of leans towards that. In Dead Island 1, there really wasn't a character like Bruno. was Logan. Logan was a dick, but other than that, talking about his stats, he has critical damage, attacking zombies from behind, like you said, not really good. But when it comes down to aesthetic, it is a stereotype. It is an easy stereotype. It's a gimme, especially when you're in LA.
The whole game's basically a
Yeah,
stereotype.
it is.
All right, that'll take us to my number three. And honestly, the top three for me, I could probably swap out. I ended up putting Jacob at number three. Now, granted, he's like the poster child of the game, and it's great. It is nice having the feral card where you get the minor damage boost when you're attacking multiple zombies. I don't know, the whole critical gains card isn't really that great to me. You get when you get a critical hit and your stamina is low, you get a moderate boost to damage and regain stamina. Like, I don't know. I haven't really found myself running out of stamina too often, as I've played. I mean, his health is the best in the game. That's huge because it is easy to get overwhelmed and to get clapped. But like I said, it could be either one of the top three for me. It could probably be interchangeable. It's just based on now. It's based on like the minor differences.
Yeah, Jacob definitely is up there. My number three is Amy. Amy, of course, is a lightweight, just like Bruno. Kinda is a focus on agility. A lot of her stats isn't anything special, but honestly, I just like her vibe. She's not gonna be my main. She's not gonna be anything that I'm gonna play with very often, but I just like her aesthetic and vibe. I like her leadership mentality. She has a lot going for her there. I do think that her stat is pretty stupid of regaining stamina when hitting a zombie with a throw weapon. Like, you could have just made it regain stamina when hitting a zombie. Like, why does it have to be a throw? But I do like her aesthetic.
My number two is one you touched on earlier. I said Danny for number two. The reason I did is because the innate skills are phenomenal. I mean, the heavy attack trigger and explosion, fantastic. Then she regains health when she slays multiple zombies at once. Absolutely phenomenal. That's huge because you're always getting crowded. It's nice to be able to regain some health when there's a bunch of them floating around you and you can just take them out real quick, especially if you're going against one of the bigger zombies. Then, the only downside is the health recovery is poo poo, but she does have a big health jump already. She doesn't have the best health in the game, but it is second essentially. So that's all right. Like the health recovery, it doesn't have to be phenomenal, and having a massive amount of stamina is great. Like I said, I don't really find myself running out of stamina too often, but it's happened a couple times where you don't really pay attention, and it is nice to have that massive boost.
My number two is actually Ryan. There's a lot of things to talk about with Ryan. I'll save a few of them, but when it comes down to it, he is a brute. He is kind of a brute. But honestly, he's a tank. But honestly, I really like him for the switch in character design of like, this firefighter type deal. You think at first glance he's just a basic
Yeah.
firefighter, and then he's a male performer. I think that's really
Hmm.
cool. I think it's really unique and something. It's probably the most unique thing they've done here with these characters.
And that'll actually take us to my number one. Ryan is my number one, and the reason is I use him as my main because he is a tank. I'm not worried about agility. I don't give a shit about agility. I want to just be able to mow down everything in my way. His toughness is up there. His stamina and health recovery are mid, but it's better than terrible. Critical damage is but again, I'm not too worried about it. You just get a big hammer and just beat the piss out of everything. Peak health is mid, and his resilience is up there. Really, I love his skill cards. You get a force boost once you block or dodge. That's really helpful because that force boost could mean the difference between knocking down a zombie and getting a couple more hits at them where they can swing at you. And then being able to regain health every time you knock down a zombie, that's fantastic.
I can't argue too much with Ryan as a number one. Mine,
Oh, I forgot. And yeah, the whole story about the. At first, I really
yeah,
thought he was a real firefighter until I, picked it apart in the character movie. I was like, wait a minute, that's not right. It is, and he is pretty entertaining.
it is really cool. He is one of the main focal points of the game.
Him or this next one that you're gonna say.
Yeah, Jacob is my number one, of course. He just exudes cool confidence, and he's just really cool. He looks like a young Lenny Kravitz, which is really cool as well. He has this British vibe to him. A stockbroker turned Hollywood stuntman is such a good idea for like a character. Like all in the promotional material, he just looks super cool. All throughout the game, he looks super cool. The star of the show, and I think his stats kind of reflect that because I think that they honestly made his stats first. Kind of makes him a standout along with the aesthetic. I mean, honestly, even if his stats were low, just based on his aesthetic, I would have put him number one.
Right. Understandable.
But yeah, if you guys enjoyed, make sure to watch any of our other videos. We're coming out with a ton. Glad to be back.
Yeah, thank you guys for watching. And this is everybody's personal preference because everybody likes to play the game different. So just let us know who your favorite character is and what your order is.